Hello and welcome to the Secretariat. Today we have with us Ms. Rupa Dutta. She was earlier with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. She was Principal Economic Advisor DPI. Now she is Senior Advisor Exim Bank. Welcome to our show, Rupa Di.
Thank
you
you.
for coming. Well, today we'll be focusing on the tariff issue and how India probably once again needs to focus on the manufacturing sector. A lot of steps have been taken to promote manufacturing, to boost manufacturing, but somehow we haven't got the desired results. What is your opinion?
I would like to begin by saying that even for the tariff issue, the focus is bringing manufacturing back to US. I mean, it's very clear the way America has imposed tariffs. They want their factories to start working. All that work which was outsourced should come back. The American labor gets chance to be part of the manufacturing industry.
Right.
So, manufacturing becomes a very key element of the strategy for any country. Whether it is China, which is playing a very key role in manufacturing, I think about 30% of the GDP is contributed by manufacturing, or whether it is South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, everybody has taken optimal steps to ensure that there is a good ecosystem. Now, and manufacturing, and even that's how our ministry has also been designed. We are doing better for services, 3.4% of GDP, of 3.4% of world GDP, but for manufacturing, it has remained at 1.7%.
What are the constraints? We've been speaking about manufacturing, we've been trying to boost manufacturing, PLI schemes, yet it hasn't taken off the way one would have wanted it to. What are the constraints?
See, here I would like to mention what is my favorite subject, and I have been, asking these questions everywhere also. We, right from our undergrad economics courses, were taught that land, labor, capital, and enterprise are the four key factors for considering industrial development. I would say, although, unfortunately, we have really not been able to make a lot of, lot of dent in any of these factors. Firstly, I would like to say is that, see, if for our manufacturing sector share in GDP to improve, our competitiveness has to increase. Competitiveness would entail reduced logistics cost, more focus on these factors of production, and ease of doing business. Now, let me, before I come to logistics and all, let me come to the four basic factors of production. Land. Land continues to be a critical input for industry. It impacts the cost of doing business and overall national competitiveness. But while we have the smart cities, we have these 32 nodes of industrial corridors, of which four are operational, four more are already will be made operational. But even then, getting unencumbered large parcels of land in terms of clear land rights, connection to electricity, water, roads, and all other facilities still remains a difficult task to achieve. And here, probably, I think there are many states which have come up with their own policies in terms of, I would say, industrial policies. Okay, so there are some states, probably south of India, which is doing better in terms of providing land, and and large industries have come up, and now even northern states are looking at it. So this industrial development, by the way, as a larger issue, there have been articles being written that more we allow these big plants to come up, in fact, all these, right from semiconductors to apples and all, to come up, our regional disparity is going to reduce, and we are going to look at more economic growth and development. So the first issue is provision of land. Second is labor. These four labor codes, which have not even been adopted by all the states, in spite of having a series of conferences. When we come to capital, we know, I mean, I think today's time is limited, but capital is access to finance remains an issue. It remains an issue for startups, it remains an issue for MSMEs, and it remains an issue for all industries. We probably need, some of the steps I can just suggest is, maybe to revive the development financial institutions or create a new financial institution, DFI, broaden and deepen the capital markets, strengthen the corporate bond market, leverage the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act further, allow the exporters both post and pre-shipment financing facilities. Some of it is being done in places like Gift City, but we need to make it much more broad-based. Encourage microfinancing institutions, recognize equipment finance and leasing as priority sector, and devise ways of pooling capital so that access to finance becomes a critical issue. And the last would be enterprise. Enterprise needs to be encouraged. We have taken good steps in terms of startups. I think now we have 160,000 startups registered with DPIIT. We have startup Mahakums. I mean, I've been there and seen the excitement is seen to be believed. But this needs to be much more widespread.
When you spoke of MSMEs, now what are the challenges MSMEs are facing? Because like you would know, in China, MSMEs play an extremely important role, and they've played a very, very critical role in boosting growth. In India, MSMEs have many challenges, though again the government has been focusing a lot on MSMEs and trying to reduce the kind of challenges they've been facing. What should be done further?
See, I think MSMEs would need a totally, absolutely a separate interview altogether.
Absolutely.
We did, in fact, we did do a study for MSMEs and how to promote exports. And in that, we did, in fact, we consulted some of the MSME exporters. And in that, it is not only access to finance, it's access to information, even knowledge about e-commerce, marketing, focusing on marketing and branding activities, how to move up the value chain. There are a lot of constraints, and if you see the kind of credit gaps these MSMEs face, and even now, very large proportion of the funding comes from NBFCs, while the PSUs are doing better, which means that NBFCs would have their own modes of payment, interest rate issues, and so many other things.
And MSME is critical even for employment generation.
Yes. And all these, all are labor-intensive sectors. Just one point here for industrialization.
Sure.
Say for gems and jewelry, say for leather, for toys, for footwear, textiles. All these are largely dominated by MSMEs. So if we, allow them to move up the value chain, be part of the system, be part of the organized sector. How there are, I think, maybe a few crore registrations in Udyam, but how many of them, the portal for MSMEs, but how many of them are part of the organized versus unorganized? They're largely from unorganized sector. And MSMEs, I think, have one other point. We should encourage them to become medium-scale enterprises. They want to remain at the MSME category because of all the benefits. No, we have to move ahead. We have to have larger medium-scale enterprises. That is a whole idea. And services, I would say, again, another topic. If we want to promote its exports, I have worked in commerce for a long time, so exports will come normally to me. We have to look beyond ITES, which is still, I think, about 70% of our services. Medical value tourism is picking up, but there are so many other, there's legal services, there are consultancy services, there's so many other areas we need to open, and also so many other countries. We have to look beyond US and UK. So, services, of course, would have, it's part of the major negotiating. All the agreements have goods and services investment component. It's being negotiated. But we need to, yes, more of maybe services with more skill development. Again, all these labor intensive sectors need to do more of skill development and training so that people remain relevant in the value chain.
Thank you so much, Rupadi, for that conversation. It was extremely nice talking to you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mohu, and your entire team. I love talking about these issues because these are like, I've worked in that area for about 10, 11 years. Even now we are looking at, Exim Bank also looks at exports and promoting exports, focusing on MSMEs, how to promote them, besides the usual business, which is large.
Absolutely. Thank you for the insights.
Many thanks.
We'll meet you soon. Thank you very much.